Let's get right into it. Number 10. Darth Vader. One of the most iconic movie quotes was never actually said. Everyone knows the scene. Darth Vader, standing in his dark glory, dropping the biggest plot twist in cinema history, and everyone knows the line, "Luke, I am your father." Except that's not what he says. The actual line is, "No, I am your father." This misquote has replaced the real line in our collective memory. The actual scene goes like this. Luke accuses Vader of killing his father. Vader responds with, "No, I am your father." No Luke. No dramatic name-calling, just straight to the point. Adding Luke gives the quote context. If you're doing your best Darth Vader impression, "No, I am your father," doesn't work. But add Luke to the beginning, and everyone knows exactly what you're referencing. This misquote has spread so far that even James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader himself, has used the wrong version in interviews. This isn't the only famous movie quote we all get wrong. Mirror, mirror on the wall from Snow White. It's actually magic mirror on the wall. Scientists call this phenomenon the Mandela effect, when large groups of people share the same false memory. Number 9. Marie Antoinette. The most famous thing Marie Antoinette never said was about cake. This quote shows how rich people don't understand poor people's problems. Let them eat cake, always pinned on the last queen of France before the revolution chopped off her head. She never said it. When this quote first appeared in print, Marie Antoinette was only 9 years old. She wasn't even in France yet. She was still in Austria, playing with dolls, and definitely not telling anyone to eat cake. The quote comes from Confessions by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He wrote about a great princess who, when told the peasants had no bread, said, "Well, let them eat brioche. Brioche is just fancy bread made with eggs and butter." Rousseau wrote this in 1765, when Marie Antoinette was still learning her ABCs in Austria. Rousseau may have made the whole story up anyway. During the French Revolution, people needed someone to hate. The foreign-born queen who liked expensive dresses and big hairdos was the perfect target. The revolutionaries were basically the world's first meme makers. They spread all sorts of crazy stories about Marie Antoinette. This quote was just one of many things they made up to make her look bad. Historical records show Marie Antoinette actually cared about poor people. During bread shortages, she wrote letters saying, "It is quite certain that in seeing the people who treat us so well, despite their own misfortune, we are more obliged than ever to work hard for their happiness." Not exactly the words of someone who'd tell hungry people to eat cake. Number 8. Casablanca. One of the most famous movie quotes of all time doesn't exist. "Play it again, Sam." Except nobody ever says it in Casablanca. Your brain is playing tricks on you. Welcome to the Mandela effect. Here's what actually happens in the movie. Ingrid Bergman's character walks up to Sam at the piano and says, "Play it once, Sam, for old time's sake." Later she says, "Play it, Sam. Play as time goes by." Humphrey Bogart just says, "Play it." That's it. No again anywhere in sight. We remember this non-existent line partly because it just sounds better. "Play it again, Sam" has a nice rhythm to it. It's more dramatic, more quotable. In 1972, Woody Allen made a movie called Play It Again, Sam. The movie was all about a guy obsessed with Casablanca. So now we've got this weird situation where the most famous quote from Casablanca comes from a different movie about Casablanca. This happens way more often than you'd think. Your memory isn't like a video recording. It's more like a Wikipedia page that anyone can edit. Every time you remember something, you're actually remembering the last time you remembered it. It's like a game of telephone with yourself. Number 7. Sherlock Holmes. The most famous quote from Sherlock Holmes was never in the books. "Elementary, my dear Watson." Not once in any of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's original stories or novels, Holmes does say elementary in the books when explaining his deductions, and he calls Watson, "my dear fellow," or "my dear Watson," quite often, but he never puts them together. The famous combo first showed up in early stage plays. Theater actors needed a catchy line that would sum up Holmes's whole character. Then in 1929, the Return of Sherlock Holmes film used the phrase. It was one of the first talking pictures. The fake quote spread instantly. Even though Holmes never said it, it's become the perfect summary of his character. The quote captures everything about Holmes, his genius, his slight arrogance, and his friendship with Watson. So next time you use this phrase, you're not quoting Sherlock Holmes. You're quoting actors who were pretending to be Sherlock Holmes. Number 6. Einstein's insanity. There's a quote everyone attributes to Einstein. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. People love throwing this one around, but Einstein never said it. This quote is from a Narcotics Anonymous pamphlet. In 1981, someone wrote it to help people understand addiction, but somehow, people started slapping Einstein's name on it. Einstein would probably hate this quote. Doing the same thing over and over is literally how science works. Scientists repeat experiments hundreds of times because sometimes they do get different results. That's how we discover new things. People keep attributing this quote to Einstein over and over, expecting it to become true. Now that might be the real definition of insanity. Number 5. Voltaire. Here's the ultimate free speech quote. I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Everyone credits Voltaire for this gem, except Voltaire never said it. This is like finding out your childhood hero is actually 3 raccoons in a trench coat. The real author was a woman named Evelyn Beatrice Hall, writing under the pen name S.G. Tallentire. She wrote it in 1906, about 127 years after Voltaire was dead. Hall was writing a book about Voltaire called The Friends of Voltaire. She was trying to explain Voltaire's beliefs about free speech in a way that would be easy to understand. So she made up this quote as a way to sum up his philosophy. When people started attributing it to Voltaire, Hall actually tried to correct them, but it was too late. The quote had already gone viral, 1900 style. Even today, you'll find this quote plastered all over social media, protest signs, and college dorm room walls, and they all credit Voltaire. It's kind of ironic that a quote about defending truth got its own truth mixed up. Voltaire would probably find this whole situation hilarious. He was famous for his wit and loved pointing out the absurdity of things. So next time someone drops this quote and credits Voltaire, you can be that annoying person who says, well, actually. Number 4. Gandhi. You've seen this quote on every Instagram inspiration page. Be the change you wish to see in the world. It's always attributed to Gandhi. Gandhi never said that. What he actually said was, we but mirror the world. All the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found in the world of our body. As a man changes his own nature, so does the world's nature change. The short version fits on a coffee mug, but Gandhi meant something deeper. He was saying everything wrong with the world is inside us too. You complain about traffic, but you are the traffic. You post about social media being toxic on social media. His real message was, fix yourself before you fix the world. The short version sounds like a Nike slogan. The real quote says, look in the mirror first. Even the Gandhi Institute confirms he never said it. Number 3. Marilyn Monroe. This quote is plastered everywhere. Well-behaved women seldom make history, usually next to Marilyn Monroe's face. It's on t-shirts, coffee mugs, your aunt's Facebook profile. Marilyn Monroe never said this. The real author was Harvard professor Laurel Thatcher Ulrich. She wrote it in a 1976 academic paper about Puritan funeral services. Yeah, you heard that right. Funeral services. She was complaining about how well-behaved women from history got ignored by historians, like being such a good Puritan wife that nobody bothered to write anything about you except she was nice and made good bread. The quote wasn't meant to encourage bad behavior. It was pointing out how unfair it was that only the troublemakers got remembered. Somewhere along the way, someone decided this quote needed more pizzazz, so they slapped it on a picture of Marilyn Monroe. Instant inspiration. The quote became so popular that Ulrich ended up writing an entire book about it. Imagine writing something in a boring academic paper about Puritan funerals, and 30 years later, it's on tank tops at Forever 21. The quote has made Ulrich more famous than any of the well-behaved women she was writing about. It wasn't some rebellious starlet trying to stir up trouble. It was a Harvard professor trying to give credit to all the good girls who got left out of the history books. Number 2. Apollo 13. Everyone knows this line. Houston, we have a problem. It's everywhere. Movies, TV shows, memes. Your dad probably says it when he can't find the TV remote. But that's not what the Apollo 13 astronauts actually said when their spacecraft started falling apart 200,000 miles from Earth. Jack Swigert calmly said, "Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here." Then Commander Jim Lovell chimed in with, "Houston, we've had a problem. Here's the difference. We've had, not we have. Past tense, not present. These guys just had an oxygen tank explode in their spacecraft. They're literally watching their oxygen vent into space. Their electrical systems are failing, and they're so professional, so calm. They're using past tense. It's like your house is on fire, and instead of screaming, 'Fire,' you calmly say, 'Excuse me, but we appear to have experienced an unexpected increase in ambient temperature approximately 45 seconds ago.' The 1995 movie Apollo 13 changed it to the punchier Houston, we have a problem, because it sounds more dramatic, and that version stuck. But the real version tells us something way more interesting about the kind of people we send to space. These weren't action movie heroes making snappy one-liners. These were engineers and test pilots who stayed cool while staring death in the face. Number 1. The Bible. Everyone's heard this one before. Money is the root of all evil. You've heard it from your aunt complaining about rich people, or that friend who thinks being broke makes them morally superior. But that's not what the Bible says. The real quote from Timothy 6:10, "The love of money is a root of all kinds of evil." 3 little changes, completely different meaning. First, the love of money, not money. Money is just a tool, like a hammer. You can build a house or break a window. The hammer isn't evil. It's what you do with it. Second, a root, not the root. Loving money too much is one path to evil, not the only one. Third, all kinds of evil, not all evil. Loving money doesn't guarantee you'll do evil. It just makes you more likely to do sketchy stuff. The verse continues, "And in their eagerness to be rich, some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many pains." Like Instagram influencers pretending to be millionaires while drowning in credit card debt. The Bible isn't saying you should be poor to be good. It's warning you not to be the person who'd sell their grandma's dentures for a quick buck. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.